At the direction of Demas leadership, the process for requesting authorization of bond funds and O&E funds for building and facilities related work will be changing. The expectation is that the new process will provide greater transparency and organization from a fiscal management perspective and help identify projects that can be grouped together to reduce the number of times staff and activity are disrupted by construction. Feel free to revisit this video as many times as you need to make sure you understand the process and expectations. FSB currently receives purchase requests for projects and materials directly from Demas facilities, though it is not often FSB who decides whether or not a project will move forward. These requests should now be submitted through the project request form that you see on the screen here. The link to this form was in the email you received with this video link. You can also find it in the video description. The form outlines the basic information about any project funding requests. As we look at the form, I'll fill out a sample request to demonstrate a new rooftop chiller. Project location theoretically will be CVH. It is not a life safety concern, and I do not have any hazmat concerns. A brief description will be replacing a rooftop chiller. CVH, as you may know, has several buildings on its campus, so in the project scope and justification, I'll be adding that it is at Battelle Hall. There's an area where you can upload any photographs, contractor quotes, or if you've already filled out a purchase rec, you can put it here. A project estimate can be dropped in here. And for a funding type, this can either be funded with O&E money, or it can be a bond fund request. If you choose O&E funds, you will be asked to include the department and program codes. If there is a state contract you're looking to use, such as the trade labor, this is where you would fill that information out. And of course, we need a facility contact email in case any additional information is required. Note the red asterisks. You will have to include a contact email address in order to submit the form. Sure, we'll go with Loretta. You can then hit the submit button and the form will submit to a software being utilized called monday.com. Upon submission of your form, several people will be notified that there is a new request that needs to be reviewed. At the very least, these requests will be reviewed once a week. However, that is a floor expectation, not a ceiling. Requests will likely be reviewed much more often. In the case of an emergency, you can still reach out to engineering services via email or phone to notify them of the issue. However, this form will need to be submitted in order for the request to move forward. When a request is reviewed, Demas leadership will use the information you have provided to make their decision, considering other work that is slated for each facility and how projects may tie together for cost savings. There may be cases where additional information is required for a decision to be made. The facility contact that was provided will be utilized, and the request will need to be resubmitted with that additional information. When a request is approved, an engineering services liaison will be assigned, and the facility contact provided will be notified that the purchase order has been approved. Please coordinate with engineering services so progress of the project can be reported to Demas leadership, things like the project schedule, etc. With any change in procedures, we know there will be questions, but the hope is that this will improve workflow and transparency of incoming requests and ongoing projects. I'd like to thank you now in advance for your patience and willingness to adjust to these changes. Be assured that you will be notified of any changes to the form or procedure that are made in the future, and this video will remain available if you ever need to reference it.